everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today. I have a little bit of a different video to share with you. First, I've got some inspiration on how to use up scraps that you might have left over and elements that you might have left over from cards that you've worked on. Sometimes we might have something that didn't quite make it on the card that we were working on, so we put it aside. Sometimes that ends up in the trash can, but I try to save those as much as possible. So I have a card video that features how I used different elements that I had left over from other cards and how I used them and incorporated them into finished projects. So I'm not going to have a full tutorial for you. I'm just going to kind of touch on the different cards that I made and what I used on them, and also touch on the techniques that I did to create the cards. At the end of the video, I also have some information on a giveaway. So I'll let you watch the video first and see the cards that I made, and then I'll get to the giveaway information. So stick around and check that out. So these are the cards that I created lately and was just kind of playing around. Some of these I used scraps and leftover pieces that I had from other projects to finish off these cards. So I wanted to kind of just give you an overview of all of the different cards that I made and the products that I used and some of the techniques that I used to make them. So I'm going to first start off with this one here. This card was really fun to put together. This is kind of like a smorgasbord of things. I've got a few pieces on here that were leftovers from another project that didn't end up making it onto the final card, and I ended up saving them. And that's what I do with a lot of the things that I make that I don't end up using on a card. If I go a different direction, I usually will save that piece that I decide not to use and try to use it on another card. So as you can see here, this background was one of the pieces that I had left over from another card. I had done this with some distress inks. I had done kind of like this blend of color, and it's got red, some yellowish tones, and then a purple. And I had done this with some ink smushing, so it has a really neat texture to it. Now, this other piece that's in the background is an actual piece of like a dark gray black cardstock, which I had die cut using a Memory Box Urban Letters die set. And I had run that die set through my Big Shot machine, and I had left over this piece of paper that had all of these letters cut out of it. And I thought it looked really cool, so I ended up saving it for whatever reason, and never ended up using it, of course. Well, I pulled it out with all of the other different pieces that I had left over, and thought this looked really neat, contrasting with that distress ink background. So I used that to create this really cool texture behind these cute elements that I've put on top, which are from Simon's new Stamptember release. So I'll first start off with the dog. The dog is the picture book French Bulldog, and he is super, super cute. I really love him. And he totally reminds me of my friend Stephanie Lykoff's dog, Lucas. And I'm actually going to be sending this card to her. So I die cut the dog using a bunch of scraps of cardstock. Again, trying to use up some of those scraps and some of the pieces that I have left over from other projects. So I die cut the dog using a few different browns. I used pink for the ears and also a cream color for his belly. Then I also did some more die cutting by cutting a heart using the WONKY Hearts dies from Simon Says Stamp. These were a previous release, but are really fun to use. And I used the medium heart in that set to die cut this red heart. Then the word together, that I die cut with the new Together word die from Simon Says Stamp. This is from their Stamptember release, and I really, really love this. It cuts out these really nice letters that spell out the word together, and it has a really nice clean and simple font. So I had die cut this from some purple cardstock. I die cut it into that purple cardstock, and then I also die cut it again from some whitish cardstock. It was like a mix between white and cream. It was an in-between. So I had die cut both of those. Using the purple piece, I turned that into a banner, and then putting another banner, the same shape and size, behind that purple piece, I then inlaid all of these letters from the whitish color paper into the purple, and that creates this really cool flat effect. It doesn't feel dimensional at all, but you can feel where the letters have been inlaid into each other, and it looks really, really nice. Finally, this last sentiment is from the Coordinating Together stamp set, which matches up perfectly with this die. And I went ahead and used the sentiment that says, "We can do anything." So this card was really fun to put together. One more thing I want to show you from that card is that I also used these super cute sprinkles from Doodlebug. I added these to the background behind my dog here, and that really helped tie the yellow in from the background to the sentiment and then with those hearts. And as you can see, all the colors on here coordinate really nicely together because I used the same colors. The only thing that I did here to help balance out the whole scene is that I made sure that the colors that I used kind of were opposite of each other. So I've got the red here in the background, so I made sure to put the red heart over on the opposite end. Same with the purple sentiment. I made sure that was opposite of where the purple is on this background. And that really helps make this whole entire card really balance out and look nice and fully cohesive. One more little detail on this card is the shimmer. Can you see the shimmer in the background there? That was done with some shimmer spritz. This was the frost color, and I really, really like it. It's beautiful and adds just a touch of shimmer and shine to the card, but nothing overly overpowering. It's not going to overpower the whole design, and it's not distracting. So I really like how it just dresses up the whole background. Okay, card number 2. This card features a lot of Altenew products, and one of them in particular is the Rose Filament die set. I loved this die set. It came out a couple months ago, and I had so much fun making cards with this. I've made tons of cards using this die set. Lots of ideas for it. So I had this idea in creating some really cool backgrounds with the dies. So what I did was I die cut these roses from some white cardstock, just some regular white cardstock, and I colored them with Copic markers. So I used some greens for the leaves, and then I used some blues here for the flower itself. And as you can see, I didn't really color them to be shaded or anything. I just kind of was very freeform with the way I added the color down. So in some cases I have a lighter color of blue, but then I went over it with a darker blue in just some certain areas, trying to keep it maybe in the nooks and crannies a little bit, but again, I wasn't being precise with any shading or anything like that. I was a little bit more precise with the shading on the leaves. As you can see, as it's closer to the flower, it's a little bit darker, but very, very, very simple. Okay, so now the rest of this card, I had wanted to make sure that I kept with this color scheme because I really, really liked it. So I wanted to make sure that the letters here that say happy really fit with that. So I used a navy cardstock, and I did add just a little bit of shading towards the bottom of those letters using a dark blue marker. Just adds a little bit of depth. And for those happy words, I used this die set from Your Next Stamp. This is called a Your Next die, but this is from Your Next Stamp. And I really like the different sizes that you get here for the words happy birthday. I didn't use the birthday part, but I used this large happy. So I die cut that, and then the supporting sentiment here is from the Altenew Birthday Greetings stamp set. And this is a really great set for all sorts of different birthday themes, and they're all in different fonts, which makes it really, really easy to find something that'll match your project. So I used this one here, and I just used the word birthday. I didn't bother using the word wishes. So after doing that, I went ahead and also added just a little bit of detailing to the edge of the card. I wanted to, again, bring out that blue. So I used some Nuvo mousse and just brushed that along the edges with my fingertip, just dipping it into the blue mousse and rubbing it along there. And you can see it creates this really cool edged effect to my card. One more final step was to add some Nuvo drops into the background. So you can see I used a couple of different colors here. I used duck egg blue and navy blue Nuvo drops. So again, this is a really fun and easy card to do, and I was able to use up a lot of scraps again with this card. All of these flowers were die cut using scraps of paper, and again, the letters were as well. Okay, this is the final card that I did. Now this one doesn't feature as many scraps. I used some scraps for the thanks and the little bunches banner, but what I wanted to focus on this card is how you can kind of pair some different things together to create a really dramatic looking scene in a very simple card. So these flowers are from the W+9 and Simon Says Stamp newest Stamptember set. This set is so beautiful, and I'm going to pull it out here so you can see it. This is the set. This is called Humble and Kind, and it has these beautiful flowers in it with also this really fun sentiment. Though I didn't use that, I used another W+9 die set for the word thanks, and that was from the Basic Greetings dies. So I used this one here, and the font actually is very similar to the sentiment in the stamp set. So I stamped the flowers. When I stamped the flowers, I used some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink because this is waterproof. Now the reason I chose the waterproof ink is because I did watercoloring with these flowers. I used a few zig markers, as you can see, literally just a few. I have not used very many for this card. I used a couple of pinks, a couple of yellows, a purple, and then a few blues and greens. So what I did is I colored the flowers first with a layer of watercolor and the markers. After that dried, I went back in with colored pencil. I added shading to the areas where I wanted them to be darkest, and I didn't stop there. Now that looked really cool as it was, but I wanted it more intense. So I went back in then again with the watercolor, and the way that the watercolor and the colored pencil reacted with these particular mediums, so I used the zig markers and Prismacolor colored pencils, those two mediums reacted really, really well, and the intensity of these flowers just skyrocketed. As you can see, these are extremely contrasted flowers, and I loved how it turned out. So very detailed, and that boldness really carries the entire simplistic scene, as you can see here. Now another feature on this card is the background. This background was done by just dabbing on colors or just areas of blue in different spots, not very much, and then I used my water brush to go ahead and blend those out and create some really cloudy looking areas to make the appearance of clouds. Nothing detailed, this is very abstract, but it looks really nice, especially against these flowers. Now another thing I did is I added a little bit of detail to the card base that is underneath of this panel here. That design here was done with a Simon Says stamp background die. It was this one here. And this is the lattice grid background stamp. And I stamped this down onto some lavender cardstock using some clear ink. And then I went over that with some white embossing powder so that I could get a really nice white detail on top of that purple card base. And that helps break up the purple a little bit and draw out that white highlight in the flowers. So that's a quick look at a couple of the different cards that I've made using some different products and also a lot of scraps and trying to get a lot of mileage out of those pieces of paper and also those different pieces that are left over from other card projects. They can always be used in a card. You can always get use out of those. So I hope that this has inspired you to break out some scraps, or maybe it's inspired you to maybe make a card featuring one of these designs or ideas, or anything else. I hope you enjoyed and had some fun watching this video. And if you will stick around, I have a little bit of info for you as far as the giveaway. So thanks for watching this video. I'm hoping that you really enjoyed it. Now it's time for the giveaway. So recently I just passed 8,000 YouTube subscribers, which I cannot believe. And I'm so appreciative of the fact that you guys like my videos and like watching them and subscribe to my channel to see more of what I do. And I can't tell you how much that means to me. So as a thank you to all of you that do subscribe to my channel and watch my videos, I have a giveaway for you. So I have actually two giveaways. I have two little goodie bags for two lucky winners. And in these bags, I've got different products that I really, really love using and want to be able to share with you. So there's different things in each bag. So each bag gets something different and they are full. They're completely full of things and they're all things that I have personally purchased and am giving to you. So nobody has sponsored this giveaway. I'm fully sponsoring this on my own. So I hope you will head on over to my blog to get the information on how you can enter into the giveaway. And I hope you will do so because I really appreciate the fact that you guys follow me and subscribe to my channel and support everything that I do. So thank you so much for that. And again, I hope you enjoyed these little card inspirations that I shared with you today. And I hope you will return for more card videos coming up very, very soon. I've got a card video featuring some Ulta new stuff coming up on the 27th and some other fun, of course, Simon Says stamp stuff that I'll be doing coming October because, of course, now that September is almost done, we've got our regular blog schedule coming back up. So on October, I believe it's 2nd, I believe that's the Monday, my next Studio Monday post will be posting and you'll be able to watch that video as well. So more is coming also in between all that. So stick around and I hope you will enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching.